what's going on? Hope everyone's doing pretty good. Today we're learning Daf Mem Gimel of Masechta Berachos. The Daf starts off with just some kind of of the stuff we've been talking about recently. Making brachas and benching wine, things like that, haseba. But then we move on to the brachas on smells, which is interesting. What you like on Berminei Besamim, things like that. And then at the end it kind of gets on to just some random little agadata kind of stuff, which is interesting. So without further ado, friends, let's jump in. We're starting on Daf Mem Gimel, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines into Mem Gimel and Aleph. Hey Sebu Echad Mevarach. So we say that when people are eating bread, if they were just sitting there, so then everyone's got a bench on their own. But if they were leaning, so then one person can be motzi everybody else in Birkat Hamazon. Okay, exciting stuff. Amar Rab, Zakt Rab, Lo Shanu Ela Pas de Bayaseba, Aval Yain Lo Bayaseba. So Rab says that in terms of the requirement to be leaning in order for one person to be motzi everybody else in benching, that is only a requirement by bread. But for wine, right, and now when it comes to wine, we're talking about the bracha beforehand, right, to be motzi everybody else in the Borei Pri Hagafen. So you wouldn't need to be leaning for wine. Even if you're not leaning, you could still have one person be motzi everybody. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Afilu yain nami bayaseba. Whereas Rabbi Yochanan says that no, even when it comes to wine, in order for one person to make the bracha for everybody else, they would have to be leaning. Okay. Ikad Amri. There are those who say that the machlokas between Rab and Rabbi Yochanan is slightly different. Amar Rab, Lo Shanu Ela Pas de Mahanya Leaseba. Rab says that no, it's only by bread that there is even the possibility of one person being motzi everybody else in Birkat Hamazon, and that is when they are leaning. Aval yain lo mahanya leaseba. But when it comes to wine, even if they're leaning, it makes no difference, and everybody would have to make their own Borei Pri Hagafen. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Zak Tehelik Rabbi Yochanan, Afilu Yain Nami Mahanya Leaseba. He says, no, even wine also leaning works. And if everybody's leaning, then one person can make a Borei Pri Hagafen for everybody else. Okay? Very, very beautiful machlokas. Meisvei, we have a kasha. Ketzad Seder Eseba. How does this whole leaning thing work? Okay, basically what would happen is that somebody would have a bunch of friends over, and as everybody was getting there, they would come inside and they would sit down on some kind of a stool or a chair or something like that. Until everybody got there. Okay, they would be hanging out over there. If you were there mayim, right, the waiter would bring for them water, and everybody would wash one of their hands. And then they would bring out wine, and then everybody would make their own bracha on the wine, and they would kind of be chilling and enjoying and drinking wine and hanging out with their friends until everybody got there and they were ready to then eat properly. Alu ve'sebu. So then when everybody was there and they decided, okay, let's eat, so they would go into some other room and they would, I know it says alu, it says they would go up, maybe it was like some kind of loft or something, but I also suspect it would probably depend on the house if they have a loft or not, but I don't know. In any event, they would go to a different room and they would then go onto their couches. Everybody would grab a couch and they would do the whole leaning and eating thing. And then they would get, the waiters would bring for them water. Now, even though everybody had already washed one of their hands while they were waiting and having their pre-meal drinks, they are now going to wash both of their hands because now they're going to be eating. And then the waiter would bring for them wine. Now, even though everybody had already made a bracha on wine earlier, they're going to, one person is going to be motzi everybody else in making a boy priagafen now. And Rashi says it's because they had moved places, right? Rashi says in the Dibra Maskal Afal Pisha Kol Echad Ve'echad Berach La'atzmo, he says She'ena Rishon Kari Shelifnei Amazon, right? The wine that they had earlier is not what's called the Yain Shelifnei Amazon that we had said in the Mishnah would be poter the Yain Shelachar Amazon. Rather, right, it's something else. She'eno B'makom Suda B'hai Basra Hu Yain Shelifnei Amazon, because that place where they had initially had wine was not the place where they're eating their meal, so therefore, it's not considered the wine shlifnei mazon. Dafka, this wine that they're having now is what's considered the wine that's before the mazon, and that other one was something separate, and that's why you're making a new bracha now when they go to lean, which is also interesting, just as a tangential thing in terms of the whole question of shinoi makom. If you make a bracha in one place and then you go somewhere else, do you have to make a new bracha? This would imply that simply moving to a different area of the house would be enough to require a new bracha, but without going into that, also, I don't really know that much about that, so I can't really go into it much. And that, so now, to the first way, now remember, we had presented two ways of, describing the machlokas between Rav and Rabbi Yochanan, okay? So according to the first way, which was that, it's only by bread that you require leaning in order for one person to be motzi everybody in benching, but wine doesn't require leaning. You can, have one person be motzi everybody in the boy priagafen even if they're not leaning. So then, well then Rav is going to have a hard time with the first part of this brisa that we just quoted, with all the people coming over to the guy's house. Why? Because over there it says that everyone's coming over, and while they're waiting, everybody makes their own bracha. Why should everybody have to make their own bracha? Rav says that wine doesn't require a seba. So the Gemara answers, Shiny orchin didaitayu l'me'akar. So it's easy. You can answer for Rav that, well, just looking at the brisa, we're clearly talking about a situation where they're going to be eating somewhere else. So everybody knows that, this isn't the meal, right? They're not being koveya seuda over here, right? The whole point of a seba is that, you're being koveya seuda, right? And you're all in it together, therefore one person can be motzi everybody else. Right, but we just described kind of the way that they would host back then, and it's that it was accepted that first you would go and you would have a appetizer in one room, and that would have wine, and then you would go and move to some other room. So everybody knows that they're not being kovei suda here, which is why everyone has to make their own bracha. But that's not a proof that if they are not leaning, then you can't have one person be motzi everybody else. No, as long as it's the meal, then you wouldn't necessarily have to be leaning per se. Okay, fine. But what about the Ika de Amri? What about the other way of explaining Rav's opinion, which is that it's only bread that leaning actually even makes a difference, right? That if you lean, you can then have one person be motzi everybody in Birkat HaMazon, but by wine, leaning won't matter and everyone's going to have to make their own bracha. Well, Kasha Seifa, we're going to have a problem with the Seifa where it says that once they were leaning, then one person makes a bracha and he's motzi everybody else for the bracha on the wine. So Shani Alsan Demigo de Kamahani Leaseba Lepas, Mahani Leaseba Leain. No, it's different over here because since they're already leaning for the meal, and we're saying that, that a seba works in terms of one person being motzi, everybody for the benching, kilu, they're all leaning together and eating together, being kovea seuda together properly. So since the leaning matters and it works for Birkat HaMazon, so it'll also work for the wine as well. But if you're just sitting down with your friends and drinking wine, even if you're leaning, it wouldn't make a difference. Everyone would make their own brachos. But once already you're having a whole meal and you're being kovea seuda and everyone's leaning, and later on one person can bench for everybody else, so then also it'll work for the wine, and one person can make a bracha for everybody else on the wine. So Rav seems to come out okay. We tried to challenge him twice. He managed to defend himself. Fine. Balem yain b'soch hamazon. So we said that. So the Mishnah says that if they bring out wine in the middle of the meal, so everybody makes their own bracha. So Shalo has been zoma, they has been zoma. So how come they has been zoma? How come when they bring out wine in the middle of the meal, everybody makes their own bracha? So now skip the next line or so. and just go to where it says Amar Lahem, right, at the end of the next line. So, oh no, it's at the end of this line. It says Amar Lahem, Hoil ve'ein beis habli panui. So the reason why everybody makes their own bracha when the wine comes in the middle of the meal is because their throats aren't open, meaning they have food in their mouths. They're thinking about swallowing. They're much more concerned about making sure that they don't choke than to make sure that they're listening to the words of the bracha and being yotze. And therefore, since people are distracted because they're eating, so everybody makes their own bracha. Okay, very good. Vu Omer la Mugmar. So now this is going to be interesting just in terms of how Rashi defined, Vu Omer la Mugmar on the Mishnah versus how he defined versus the context of the Gemara over here. On the Mishnah, Rashi defined Vu Omer la Mugmar as referring to the person who is motzi everybody on the yayin, right, la'achar Amazon, right. We said that if they bring wine at the end of the meal, and that was before benching, okay, so they bring wine, one person can be mevarich for everybody else. And then we say, once already he's being motzi everybody for the wine, so then also he will continue and be motzi everybody on the bracha on the incense that they would bring at the end of the meal, and he would say whatever bracha he's going to say on the incense. Now says the Gemara, from the fact that the Mishnah had to tell us that he's the one who's going to be making the bracha on the incense, well, that implies that maybe we would have thought that somebody else really should be making the bracha on the incense, because maybe there's somebody greater than this person who should be making the bracha on the incense. Skip the next line, right, till the end of the next line where it says Misayeya le Rav. So this actually supports Rav. The Amar Rav Chia bar Ashi Amar Rav Hanotel Yadav Tchila Bachrono Mezuman lebracha. That the person who is the first one to do Mayim Achronim, that person is going to lead the Zimun when they do the benching. So therefore, the point being that you're not necessarily going to have the greatest person in the room doing the benching. You're going to have whoever happened to do Mayim Achronim first doing the benching. So therefore, I understand why I might think that somebody else should be making a bracha on the incense, because it could just be that a random dude was the first person to do Mayim Achronim, so that person ended up leading the Birkat Hamazon, but now they want to give the honor to somebody greater to light the incense. So the Mishnah is saying that so now you see that's the thing. So the Mishnah said whoever is making the bracha on the wine, Shalachar Asuda, is going to make a bracha on the incense. Where over here it seems to be saying whoever led the Birkat Hamazon is going to make a bracha on the incense. But it could be that maybe it's like the same person, Kilu, I don't know, whoever made a bracha on the wine, Shalachar Asuda, also would end up doing Mayim Achronim first, but I don't necessarily know why that would be. But, okay, the Gemara wants to assume that this seems to be a proof that whoever does the Mayim Achronim first is going to be the one to lead the benching, and it's not necessarily the greatest person. And then that person will then also burn the incense, zeu. Okay? Rav Rabbi Chia, Aviyasve Kame de Rebbe Besudasa. So Rav and his uncle Rabbi Chia were sitting with Rebbe, like Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, the editor of the Mishnayos, Besudasa, and they were eating. Amar le Rebbe le Rav. So now Rebbe said to Rav, Kum mashi yadach, go wash your hands. So Chazi Davat Mirases. So now Rabbi Chia saw that his nephew Rav was like a little bit embarrassed. He was like, or nervous. He didn't like. Why is Rebbe asking me to wash my hands? Are my hands dirty? Is he trying to tell me something? What does Rashi say? Or maybe I was like taking too long to eat, and he's trying to give me a hint, like, hey, stop eating. We got, move on. So Rabbi Chia said to Rav, he says, you fool. He's telling you, kid, that he wants you to lead the benching. He's honoring you with leading Birkat Hamazon. That's why he's asking you to go do Mayim Achronim first. Now, interestingly, this is the second time in the Masechta that we've seen this same exact setup, where you have a story with Rav, Rabbi Chia, and Rebbe, and Rabbi Chia is calling his nephew Rav a fool. Right? The other one was Rav apparently was with Rebbe, and he was saying to Rabbi Chia that he didn't notice that Rebbe would say Kriya Shema when they were learning in the morning. And Rabbi Chia said, you fool, what do you think he was doing when he covered his eyes? So interesting that we have a second time in the Masechta where we have Rav and his uncle Rabbi Chia in the content, in the presence of Rebbe, and Rav kind of asked something to Rabbi Chia, and Rabbi Chia said, "You're a fool." Okay. Amar Rabbi Zera, Amar Rava bar Yirmiyah. Azat Rabbi Zera, in the name of Rava bar Yirmiyah, Me'emasai mevarchen ala reach. So at what point do you make a bracha on smells, right? Let's just think of like an incense stick for a second. You light the incense stick, and now the stream of smoke is starting to come up from the incense stick. At what point do you make a bracha? Do you have to smell it first? Do you make a bracha before you smell it? So the answer is mishatayla timraso. Once the smoke starts rising up from the incense stick or from whatever you're burning, at that point you will make the bracha even before you've smelled it. Amali Reb Zera l'Rav bar Yirmiyah. So Reb Zera says to Rav bar Yirmiyah, "Baha lo ka'arach," but he hasn't yet smelled it, and he's making a bracha before he's even smelled it. Amali l'taimech. So Rav bar Yirmiyah says to Reb Zera, and what? According to you, hamotzi lechem min haaretz demevarech v'lo achal. When you make a bracha of hamotzi lechem min haaretz, you haven't yet eaten the bread. Now, when it comes to bread, your knowledge is that you're about to eat the bread, so you make the bracha on the bread, and then you eat the bread. So you know that you're about to smell the incense, so you make a bracha on the incense, and then you smell it. Amar Rav Chia brei the Abba bar Nachmani, Amar Rav Chizda Amar Rav, ve'amrila, Amar Rav Chizda Amar Zeiri. Okay, that was 2.5 lines of Gemara. So Rabbi Chia brei the Abba bar Nachmani said the name of Rav Chisda, said the name of Rav, but some people, it was actually Rav Chisda, said the name of Zeiri. Okay. That all incenses, you make the bracha of Borei Atzei Bisamim, right? Who creates trees of Bisamim, good fragrances. Chutz mi Moshek, shemin chayahu shemavarchin ala Borei Mine Bisamim. The exception being this Moshek, because apparently it comes from the stomach of a deer, and therefore you don't say it doesn't come from a tree, it comes from an animal, and therefore you say Borei Mine Bisamim. Okay? Meisve, we have a kasha on this. Ein mevarchin Borei Atzei Bisamim, ela ala farsimon shel beis Rebbe, v'ala farsimon shel beis Kesar, v'ala hoda sheb'chol makom tiyuvta. We have a Mishnah, we have a Brisa that says that no, you only say Borei Atzei Bisamim on like parsimon branches. I guess it's parsimon or a farsimon. I don't know if that's different than parsimon actually. But on these branches of a farsimon and these hadas branches that you're not burning it, you just take a hadas branch and you smell it. So if you do that, so then you'll say Borei Atzei B'Samim. But on incense you would not say Borei Atzei B'Samim. You say Borei Mine B'Samim. Okay, great. Amalei Rav Chizda Rav Yitzchak. So Rav Chizda said to Rav Yitzchak, "Hay mishcha da afar simon." This afar simon oil. My mevarchin ilave. What bracha do you make on it? So basically you have an oil that smells good. Amalei Achi Amar Rav Yehuda. So Rav Yitzchak said that this is what Rav Yehuda said. Borei shemen artzenu, who creates the oil of our land. Amalei. So Rav Chizda said to Rav Yitzchak, Bar minei de Rav Yehuda, don't bring rayas on this Indian from Rav Yehuda, de chaviva le Eretz Yisrael, because he mamish loved Eretz Yisrael. So of course he's a tziyani. And he's going to say, Borei Shemen Artzenu, who creates the oil of our land, right? Now, if anybody is thinking, well, I'm sure everybody's thinking, but if this maybe rings a bell, we talk out a story on Chavdalet Amud Beis, where Rabbi Abba wanted to move to Eretz Yisrael, and he was avoiding Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda Davka said, anybody who moves to Eretz Yisrael is over on a mitzvah saseh, right? So, very interesting that even though Rav Yehuda's opinion was that it's forbidden to move to Eretz Yisrael, he mamish loved Eretz Yisrael so much that when he would have oil, with the fragrance of Eretz Yisrael, he would say Borei Shemen Artzenu, But he still felt the Maisa that the Torah said that you're not allowed to go there. Very interesting. So l'chuli amamai. What about everybody other than Rav Yehuda who isn't infatuated with Eretz Yisrael? What do they make on oil? Amalei, Hachi Amar Rabbi Yochanan. This is what Rabbi Yochanan said, Borei Shemen Orev. Oh, God who creates epis sweet oils. Okay. Amar Rav Ada bar Ahava. Zok Rav Ada bar Ahava. Hai kashrusa mevarchen ilave Borei Atzei B'Samim. So this kosht, right, comes up in the Ketores, kosht. I'm not exactly sure what it is though. But on kosht, you would say borei atze b'samim. I guess if you have like a branch of kosht, you would say borei atze b'samim. Aval mishcha kvisha, but if you have some kind of oil that is infused with kosht, lo, you wouldn't say borei atze b'samim. Maybe you'd say borei mine b'samim. And as Rashi says, because we only see oil, we don't see the branch. Rav Kana says, no, you can even say borei atze b'samim on this kosht infused oil. But if you would grind up the kosht and put it into the oil, then you wouldn't say borei atze b'samim. Even if you take kosht and grind it up and put it into oil, you would still say borei atze b'samim. Okay? Amr of Gidl, Zak the Helik of Gidl, Amr Rav, in the name of Rav. Hi, Samlach, Mevarchin Ilave borei atze b'samim. On jasmine, if you have a jasmine flower, so you'd say borei atze b'samim. Amr of Chananel, Amr Rav, Hani Chilfe Diyama, these spikenards, okay, which apparently is like the naird in the Ketores, but these spikenards, Mevarchin Ilave borei atze b'samim. You say borei atze b'samim. Amr Marzutra, Maikra'ah. Where do we have a pasuk that these, bundled things are called eitzim? Via elasam hagaga batitmeneim b'fishtei ha'etz. That it says that what was his name? Rachav. Right. That with that woman who they went to with the spies. Before Jericho, which is interesting because where did we see this? That Yericho, Rashi actually said on Mem Gimel Amud Aleph just now on the Amud Aleph, it says Ve'al Shem Areach Haisenikras Yericho, that basically a farsimon would grow in Jericho, and it's called Jericho. It's called Yericho from the word reach because it would smell so good that from the farsimon that's why they called it Yericho. But anyways. Rachav, she brought up these two spies and hid them in what was it, Kalev and somebody else? I don't remember. And hid them in these what did it say? Pishtea eights. So called like these flax eights. So I guess all these flowery kind of things are called eights as well. Rav Mashasha Amar Zakta Rav Mashasha Hai Narkom daffodils. Diganunisa, if they are raised in your garden, Sumavarchin Ilave Borei Atze B'samim. Didavra, but wild daffodils, Borei Isbe B'samim. Then you would say grasses of B'samim. Okay. Amr Rav Sheshes, Hani Sigle. Rav Sheshes says that these violets, Mevarchin Alayu Borei Isbe B'samim, say creates the grasses of the fragrant grasses. Amr Marzutra, Zok Marzutra, Ayman, Demorach be'esroga or bechavusha. Marzutra says that somebody who smells an esrog or a quince, Omer Baruch Shenosan Reach Tov Baperos, right? Blessed is God who gave good smells to fruits. Very cool. Amr of Yehuda, Zok of Yehuda, Haman Denafik Biyome Nisan. Somebody goes out during the month of Nisan. V'chazi ilne dikamelavleve, and he finds trees that are budding. Omer Baruch Shlochise Ba'olam Uklum. Blessed is God who hasn't lacked in His world anything. Avarbo Brios Tovos, Bilanos Tovos, and He created good creations and good trees. Lisnos Boyan Bnei Adam that people can get benefit from. Omer Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia Omer Rav Zok Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia in the name of Rav. How do we know Bichlal that we make brachas on smells? Right, we've been assuming up until now that we make brachas on smells. How come? Who says? Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Kol neshama tahalka, that the soul must pray, right? Will praise God. Ezu davar sheneshama nenes mimenu ben haguf nene mimenu. Havei omer ze hareach. What is something that only the soul gets pleasure from, but the physical body doesn't get pleasure from? It's something that's reserved strictly for the soul. That is smell. From Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia Amar Rav, Asidim Bachura Yisrael Shitnu Reach Tov Kalevanon. In the future, the young men of Israel are going to have a good smell like the smells of Lebanon. As the Metzudas David says that Lebanon had all sorts of good leaves and trees, and it smells very good. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, this pasuk is in Hosea, Yelchu Yom Kosov, it's talking about, God's going to bless the Yidden like trees, and it'll say Yelchu Yom Kosov, that its branches are going to go, Vikazayis Hodo, and, so its branches will extend, and its beauty will be like that of the olive tree, that its leaves are always moist, Vereach lo kalivanon, and it will smell as awesome as Lebanon. What does the pasuk mean? That the Eibishter created everything, beautiful at its time. It teaches, right, that God made everybody's profession beautiful in their eyes, that they enjoy their profession, or at least they're able to, work in their profession, right? Because not every profession is, let's say, as clean or enjoyable as the other ones, yet, everybody manages to work in their profession. Amar Rav Papa Hanudamri Inche Talat le Kora L'Davar Acher B'Yudidei Avid, right? So Papa says that's what it means, that if you give like a hearts of palm to a pig, he's just going to take it and throw it in the mud anyways, because that's just the way he's wired, right? People are wired different ways, and what you might think is crazy, somebody else might enjoy. The Amar Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia Amar Rav, says Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia in the name of Rav, Avuka Kishnaim V'Yarech Kishlosha. Oh, if you're walking around at night by yourself, so then it's just you. But if you are with a torch, so then the torch is like 2, and if the moon's out, then the moon is like 3. So by the way, they want to know Avuka Kishnaim Bahadidei or Dilma Avuka Kishnaim Levarmididei. When it says that the torch is like 2, is that including him? So like if you're by yourself, it's just you, but if you have a torch, then you're considered like 2, or is the torch itself considered like 2, and you and the torch is considered like 3? That's what the Gemara wants to know. And the nafkamina is for shadim, right? That the demons won't attack you. If you're by yourself, then they'll attack you. But if you are with a torch, or if it's 2 people, then they won't attack you. So this is what we want to know. So Tashma, v'yarech kishlosha. Well, it says that if the moon's out, then it's like 3. I understand if you say that when it says that the moon is like 3, it means including him. So Kilu, if he's walking alone at night and the moon's out, so it's like he is joined by 2 other friends. It's like there are 3 people darting, right? But if you say that the moon is itself like 3 people plus you, that makes 4. Well, what do you need 4 for? Right? So if it's just one person alone at night, so then the demon will be seen and it will attack the poor person. The Shnayim Nira ve'eno mazik, to 2 people, so the demon is seen, but it won't actually damage the person. The Shlosh enu nira kol ikar, but if there are 3 people, so then the demon won't be seen whatsoever, right? So I understand, Kilu, if by himself it's just him. With the torch, then it's 2 people. With the moon, then it's like there are 3 people there. But if you say that the moon itself is like 3, plus him is 4, what do you need 4 for? So we see that the torch is like 2 including him, and like the moon is like 3 including him. Amar Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia Amar Rav V'Amrila Amar Rav Chana Bar Bizna Amar Rav Shimon Chasida V'Amrila Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rav Shimon ben Yochai. Okay, so what did they say? The suspense is killing me. They said, Noach lo la'adam she'apil atzim l'sochkiv shana eish v'al yalbim pnei chavero barabim. Better that a person should throw himself into a fiery furnace rather than embarrass his friend publicly. Minalan mitamar. Where do we learn this from? We learn this from Tamar. Shne'amar hi mutzeis v'gomer. Right? The story of Yehuda and Tamar, that Yehuda impregnated his daughter-in-law Tamar. Well, she wasn't married to any of his kids at the time, but he impregnated Tamar. They were taking her out and they were going to burn him. And instead of saying, look, there he is, there's Yehuda, that's the guy who impregnated me, all she said was, look, here are these items that I got from whoever the person was that impregnated me, and if he wants to, own up to it, he can. If not, I'm not going to embarrass him. And they were about to kill her. They were about to burn her at the stake. So we see better that you should, throw yourself into a fiery furnace rather than embarrass somebody else. Tanu Rabbanan. And then, of course, Yehuda confessed. Tanu Rabbanan. Heviu lefan of shemen v'hadas. So if they brought in front of him oil and hadas branch, okay? Beishamai om mivarach ala shemen, v'achar kach mivarach ala hadas. So Beishamai says first you make a bracha on the oil, and then you make a bracha on the hadas branch. Beis Hillel omim mivarach ala hadas, v'achar kach mivarach ala shemen. Whereas Beis Hillel says first you make a bracha on the hadas branch, and then you make a bracha on the oil. Okay, fine. I assume that it's talking about an oil that smells good, kilu. And Mistam, you're going to say b'rei atze b'savim on the hadas, you're going to say b'rei mine b'savim on the oil. Okay. Amar Gamliel ani achriya. And Gamliel says, look, I will settle this. Shemen zachinu l'reicho v'zachinu l'sichaso. That oil we can get benefit from its smell and from rubbing it on our skin. Whereas hadas l'reicho zachinu l'sichaso lo zachinu. Whereas by hadas we can get benefit from its smell, but we can't, rub it into our skin. So therefore, you should make a bracha like Beis Shammai and make a bracha on the oil first, and then the hadas. Rabbi Yochanan says that the halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, who says that the halacha is like Beis Shammai, that you make a bracha on the oil and then you make a bracha on the hadas. Rav Papa Ikla Levei Rav Huna Brei to Rav Ika. Rav Papa visited the Bismedrash of Huna Brei to Rav Ika. Aisu lekamayu shemen v'hadas, and sure enough, they brought in front of them oil and hadas branch. Shakar Rav Papa brich ahadas bereisha, and of course Rav Papa made a bracha on the hadas branch first. V'hadar barich hashemen, and then he made a bracha on the oil. Amarle lo savar lamar halacha kedivrei machriya. So Rav Huna Brei Rav Ika said to Rav Papa, don't you hold, like Rabbi Yochanan said, that the halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, who said that the halacha is like Rabbi Beis Shammai, who says that first you make a bracha on the oil and then you make a bracha on the hadas. Amarle. So Rav Papa said, Hachi Amar Rava. Rava said, halacha k'Beis Hillel. That the halacha is like Beis Hillel, you should make a bracha on the hadas first. And then the Gemara says something really funny. Vilohi, that's actually not true. Rav Papa was, let's just say, bending the truth. Lishtamute nafshi udavid. He was embarrassed that he messed up, so he just kind of said, oh yeah, Rava said that the halacha is like Beis Hillel. But Rava didn't really say that. Kind of a funny thing. All the commentaries and stuff on the page are kind of saying, no, leave this out. It's not really true. I don't know. Rashi seems to say that that's what happened. He didn't know, so he just made something up. Okay. Tanu Rabbanan. Heviu lifneim shemen v'yayin. So if they bring in front of them oil and wine, Beishamai omim ochez hashemen b'yamino v'zayayin b'smolo. Beishamai says you hold the oil in your right hand, you hold the wine in your left hand. Mevarich ala shemen v'chozer mevarich ala yayin. First you make a bracha on the oil, and then you make a bracha on the wine. Beis Hillel omrim ochez es hayayin b'yamino v'es hashemen b'smolo. You hold the wine in your right hand, and you hold the oil in your left hand. Mevarich ala yayin v'chozer mevarich ala shemen. And first you make a bracha on the wine, and then you make a bracha on the oil. V'tacho b'rosh hashamish. And then, after you're done making a bracha on the oil, I guess whatever oil got on your hands, whatever fragrant oil got on your hands, just rub it on the head of the waiter. Yeah, he won't mind, don't worry. But if the shamish is a Talmid Chacham, so then tacho b'kotel, then just rub it on the wall. Because it is disgraceful for a Talmid Chacham to go out to the marketplace when he's smelling all fancy. Okay? The rabbis thought there are 6 things that are disgraceful for a Torah scholar. He shouldn't go out to the marketplace when he's smelling all fancy. He shouldn't walk alone at night. He shouldn't walk around in patched up shoes. He shouldn't talk to a woman in the marketplace. He shouldn't sit in a group with a group of ignoramuses. And he shouldn't walk into the Beis HaMedrash last. He also shouldn't take big strides, and he shouldn't, walk in a haughty manner with his back up straight. all haughty. Okay, now we're going to explain all of these things. He shouldn't go out to the marketplace when he smells all fancy. Amar Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, b'makom shechshudim al mishkav zachar. That is specifically in a place where there is a lot of homosexual activity, and I guess in those places the men would wear very fragrant smells, and therefore it's a Talmud Chacham shouldn't wear those fragrant smells. I guess so that nobody because we don't want him to be suspected of promiscuity. Okay. Amar Rav Sheshes lo amaran ela bevigdo. So Rav Sheshes said that that's only putting fancy smells on his clothing. That would be a problem. But he's allowed to wear deodorant. Woo! Thank God. Amar Papa v'sayu kevigdo dami. Papa says that putting these fancy smells on his hair, it's like he put it on his clothing, so don't put fancy smells in your hair. But some say it's like his body. Okay, so he can put fragrant smells in his hair. Okay. And he shouldn't walk alone at night because we're concerned that maybe he's going to visit his favorite prostitute. But we only say he shouldn't go alone at night when he doesn't have a regular study session with his teacher. But if he has a daily, study session with his teacher, so everyone knows that, okay, this guy is just going to study, he does it every night. And he shouldn't wear patched up shoes. Because Rav Chia bar Abba says that it's disgraceful that a Talmud Chacham should walk with patched up shoes. Ini, Rav Chia bar Abba nafik. But Rav Chia bar Abba himself would walk out with patched up shoes. Amar Marzutra Beit Rav Nachman b'taloe al gabe taloe. So Marzutra Beit Rav Nachman says that no, the issue with patched up shoes is only when it's patches upon patches. V'lamar and ella bifanta, and that's only on the top of the shoes. But if it's the heel of the shoe, then it's no problem if it's patched up. And even on the top of the shoes, it's only a problem if it's all patched up, if he's on the traveling kilu. But in his house, he could wear patched up shoes, no problem. And that is only when it's sunny outside, because then you can actually see the shoes. But during the winter, when it's raining, like you might be able to hear in the background, it's raining right here, so then it would be okay because your shoes get all muddy and nobody would be able to see the patchwork anyways. You shouldn't speak with a woman in the market. Rav Chisda says even if it's Taka his wife, he shouldn't be speaking with her in the market. Okay, and I think Rashi says because people don't know it's his wife, and therefore they won't, they'll think maybe he's talking with random women, and that's not appropriate. Right? We also have a verse that says even if it's his wife, even if it's his daughter, even if it's his sister, because not everybody knows this Talmud Chacham's family structure. He shouldn't sit together with a bunch of ignoramuses, because maybe he will be convinced that he should join them in their ignoramusicity. He shouldn't go last into the Beis HaMedrash, because then they will call him poshea, which Rashi defines as lazy. We don't want him to get a reputation of being lazy. For those who say he also shouldn't take large strides. Because we said that if somebody takes 2 large steps, right, if his steps are too large, so then that affects his eyesight. It reduces his eye by 1/500. So how do you get it back? Right, lahadre, how do you get it back? If you make kiddush on Friday night and you drink the wine lemaise, so then you'll get back your eyesight. You shouldn't walk in a haughty manner. Somebody who walks in a haughty way, or even for 4 amos, it's ki'ilu he's like kicking away the legs of Shechina, of God's presence, as it says. His honor fills the world. So if you're kind of showing that you fill the world, so you're pushing away God. So that's no good. All right, it was kind of an interesting page, right? Brachos on smells, incense, Beremine besamim, Bereatze besamim, Bereisbe besamim. Interesting stuff. Hope you all enjoyed. And I also hope that you have a great, great, great day.